Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have a return guest, Jonathan Shroyer. Long history with Jonathan here. I saw him on this calendar. I'm like, man, this is going to be a good day. Jonathan's he's a podcast host. He's a multiple-time author. We published a book together, a lot of history, and he's done a lot in business. So I'm excited to hear about his last venture he was on the show talking about with. He was killing it, and now I'm excited to hear about what's going on next. Jonathan, welcome back, man. It's good to hear you.
Thank you, Adam. It's always a pleasure to talk with you and to have your listeners hear our conversations. And I love listening to the other podcast folks in the Mission Matters Network and watching your podcast and listening. It's such a fun time to learn and scale and grow.
Man, that's good. So I saw the title here, CEO of Quimbi. This is at least new to me venture. So talking about agentic AI revolution and really how super agents are working. And this has been something I've been personally curious about for a bit now. And to have you on the show to talk about it and to decipher it for me, this is going to be awesome. But maybe I don't want to assume that all of our new listeners maybe know some of your background and really how you got started. And you've had some exits and some other things you've done. Maybe just start by catching up the new audience with maybe some of your background in business and what you've done.
Yeah, so I started off on the phones, if you can believe it, supporting Microsoft Windows 95. So that might age me a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
My 4-year-old son likes to tell me how old I look and how one day he'll be as tall as me. So there's always that. So that's a new thing since we've kind of chatted in the last time.
That's
Adam.
Little Gamer.
Yeah, Little Gamer, that's right.
Come on, I was watching Little Gamer grow up from way back when on TikTok. I haven't forgotten, Jonathan. What are you talking about? Little Gamer is the boss.
But your audience might not know about Little Gamer. So go follow me on TikTok and you can see Little Gamer in action.
For sure.
So I've been in the tech, gaming space for 25 years. I've founded multiple companies, exited those companies, 20, 30x return. My focus has kind of always been in how do you create 10x acceleration for companies, and whether that was for companies that I worked with in my early career with Microsoft and Autodesk and Postmates, to companies that I founded like Officium and Quimbi, and companies that I purchased like Lenda. It's always been about how do you create 10x value, whether the client is B2B or whether the customer is B2C. It's how do you do that, and how do you do that in the way where you think about technology, AI, innovation, optimization, and think differently and be different and be better. Those have always been my call signs. And so as I've kind of parlayed into my new venture with Quimbi, it's in that same vein, which is I've created agentic AI super agents where gaming companies and other companies can essentially turn their customer service agents into 6x the productivity of what they do today. So they become customer service architects rather than agents. We drive cost savings on optimization, and then we also prove out LTV or monetization of about 15% or more. So it's just been fun. I'm kind of diving back in to tech and gaming and AI and doing some stuff. So I'm excited to talk to you about it.
Man, this is good. Where did you with this latest venture? First off, how long have you been kind of going down this route with this latest venture? Because I don't know if we've talked about it. It's been a bit.
Yeah, no. So I founded this company in May. We have 2 customers now. We're revenue generating. We've got about 20 customers in the pipeline, 3 or 4 that look like they're going to be closing soon. And so it's a new thing. I've got a great group of advisors, well known in the game industry. My co-founder, John Pompey, is EA stock. He was the PX global leader there. My other tech co-founder, Scott Allen, was at EA over business analytics and tech. And so we're really kind of thinking differently about how do you hyper personalize at scale and drive more meaningful, customized value to where the player of the game feels like the game studio really cares about them on a more intimate level.
Mm-hmm. Where did you, a lot of ideas come by your desk? That's a given. You're in the know, you're around, you're smart, you're always figuring things out. I always see that. And you're looking at opportunities too. And I'll say this, I'm not putting words into your mouth, or maybe I am putting words in your mouth. You didn't say this, but in my opinion, you've established a lot of different things and you don't have to jump at any one particular opportunity. Where do you smell the real opportunity in this one with everything that's going on? Why did you settle on this idea to focus your attention on?
Well, I think it was MIT that came out with a study and said 95% of AI projects today are failing. And I think the reason why that's happening is because a lot of folks are getting excited about AI, but they don't know how to apply it properly. And so what we have done is we've created a set of solutions that you can apply immediate properly and get ROI impact. So you'll be part of that 5% success rate. And so I think in this day and age when everybody's super busy, it's very difficult for a services leader, a live ops leader, a QA leader to say, hey, let me run my team and let me focus on AI. It's a lot easier for them to say, hey, let me run my team and build AI into my strategy and bring an expert in that can help me create an applicable product that will bring immediate value. And I think that's why we think this is an interesting space for us.
Who's the client here? Like, give me the avatar and who you feel you're going to add value for and exactly like how you plan on doing that and are doing that, by the way. You have the revenue generator.
Yeah, so I mean, the main client is like a game publisher, an e-commerce store, hospitality brand, a fantasy sports brand. Those are like the main kind of clients, and usually it's somebody that's responsible for marketing, live operations, or support are the main folks that we talk to. And the main outcome is to help these leaders deliver more value via optimization and LTV monetization, and then also give them some clarity of language to work with their exec teams to get more investment in their businesses so they're not seen as a cost center, they're seen more as a profit center.
Go into the weeds a little bit. Like, how exactly do the super agents work?
So essentially, you can imagine like one example of a super agent is called Super Agent Engage. And so today, a player support agent will have to look at 6 or 7 different tools to get the information they need to answer a customer's question. And so what we want to do is we created a one-stop shop interface. You can think of it as the brains, and it connects to the game database, GitHub, which is like a development tool, the bug system like Jira, connects with the CRM like the email ticketing system, external sources like Reddit and Line. So it connects to all of that, brings all that information into one location, and then it pre-writes the response in a hyper-personalized way for the agent. So rather than the agent having to do all of this research and having to figure out how to write the response and how to customize it, the AI does all of that. So then the agent gets to review the information and then make a call like, should I edit it? Should I send it? And that's the call. How do I architect this experience? Our tool also recognizes fraud, identifies if they're blocked in the game and they need an incentive offer to get past the block, compensation based off of the issues. So we kind of take the guesswork out of the agent and we give them the ability to actually think about the player and how to get that player back to playing the game and playing it more often.
That's interesting. What do you think this does, like long term, for the industry and for that part? It seems like this over time becomes a norm, right? Like it would.
Yeah. In 5 years, this will be table stakes, right? So this is an opportunity for us to disrupt now and do something interesting and useful and helpful.
It just when you explained it, by the way, it just makes so much sense. You're like, okay, duh. What are you going to say? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to increase the LTV. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, it's more so. I feel like you get pushback, what would it be on? Like on implementing something like this?
So we've set it up where it's an agnostic tech stack and it's plug and play. So we can implement and onboard within weeks. Now, some larger companies might have governance processes that you have to go through.
Sure.
And so that'll take a little bit longer. But on the technology side, we can plug and play it in a matter of weeks. And so it's a fairly simple implementation. I always like to say a 5th grader could probably work on the implementation because we try to make it as simple as possible because we know tech sometimes can be scary. And then we've got my team with a full group of devs that can help through anything with other teams. But we want to keep it pretty simple, pretty straightforward. A, so you can get going quicker. B, so you get immediate impact and then you feel the value. And then C, so you can start to adopt AI that's actually going to work in your business.
Yeah, that's interesting. And how do you plan on talk to me about plans for scaling this, bring this market further? Talk to me about a little bit about the go-to-market and what you plan on doing with that.
So our main focus now is we wanted to test out, is this interesting? Is this useful? So we went to GDC, Game Developer Conference, and Gamescom, which are 2 of the largest gaming conferences in the world. And we talked to hundreds of brands. And 95 out of the 100 brands said, hey, we need this. We got to have this. When can we chat? What's the next steps? So we wanted to.
Is that how you tested your original idea? I'm curious on that. And this is the reason I'm asking this question too, is just to get into your head and your thought process for the other entrepreneurs that are out there listening. Just in case, I don't want people to miss what you just said. Like, you had a theory, you had a thesis, and now you went to go test it at a conference, and you're like, okay, this is where that caravan of potential clients are. Let's see. And I'm guessing if people were like, I'll play devil's advocate. If you didn't get that type of reception, then probably you wouldn't have gone forward with it, or it would have been early or anything else. I'm not projecting that on you though. Just, can you comment on that and your thought process?
I don't think we would have started the company if we didn't get the right feedback. So I think anytime as an entrepreneur, just taking a step back, anytime that you want to actually create a company, you really have to think through, is it different? Is it better? Is there interest? And I think if you have all three of those with an empirical amount of data, then you really have a shot to do something interesting in the market. If you don't have all three of those, then you run the risk of wasting money and closing your business. And so you just have to really think through that. And it doesn't mean that your first idea is the one you run with. You may go through and say, I have this idea. Okay, it doesn't really hit those three boxes. Okay, let me pivot to a different idea. So it's not, the intent isn't to shut down the entrepreneur. It's to help the entrepreneur think through. I think it's 90% of small businesses close in 5 years, right? And so how do you get to be the 10% that don't close? And so it's really doing that foundational research and that market fit to ensure that you're part of the 10% and not the 90%.
Okay, so continue on now I'll circle back to your story where you were at. You were at the conference and you talked to at least 100 companies. 95 said, when can we talk? Take it from there. Yeah,
so we basically 95% said, this is great, but when can we chat? What's next? And we hadn't actually built a product. We had just built a concept. And so once we got back from those conferences, we're like, okay, now it's time to build a product because there's a lot of interest, right? And so what we did is we spent a couple months and we built the product. Because of AI, we can now build it in a couple of months versus a year. Then we built the product on a shoestring budget because of AI again. And so then we started talking to people about it. Say, hey, we got the MVP. This is what the value can do. This is how we integrate. This is how we push forward. We landed our first 2 customers, and we started to integrate the solution into those customers. And then we started talking. And we're starting to build case studies with those customers, and then we're working on onboarding other customers. Our first 5 customers, because it's a newer product to market and we want people to really see the value, we're giving 6 months free POC. And so if you're interested, hit me up. But I think that the huge opportunity here is to help people see the value. They got excited. Now they need to see the value. Then if they see the value, then they're going to be willing to pay for it, right? And when you're a newer company, sometimes you want to be creative with your first few customers to ensure that you can get kind of that foundational customer set, which demonstrates traction. So when you're going to get investment, you need to have kind of 2, 3, 4 customers with decent contracts that demonstrate traction, because an investor will be like, okay, it's interesting, it has market fit, they did the research, and it has traction, let me invest in it. And I think that's a critical component for us to get to kind of that 5th customer. Yeah.
And what else is kind of interesting to me in that timetable is what you're also kind of learning and adapting with those initial customers, right?
That's right. You're learning, adapting, pivoting, and adjusting your product to exactly what will be the tighter market fit. Not only for the value proposition for the customers, but the unit economics for yourself.
Yeah, you're getting closer, huh? And then and also getting the data, you're getting the feedback probably, and correct me if I'm off on this because I've never done it, but maybe they're definitely willing to give their opinion quite a bit in the beginning because they want you to improve, and you're already providing them value with even being part of it, so you have a good test subject too.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting, man. I love it. This is, as always, you come on, teach a little quick master class, in, out. I see how you do it, Jonathan. I'm over here as you say this, all those steps you said, I'm like, all right, Shrog, listen to this. We did none of those boxes. And that's why it's awesome. If I could go over, though, and I understood how to launch a business and all those things, I'm like, man, that's awesome. I marvel. It's awesome. Well, Jonathan, man, I'm just telling you, it's been great having you on and catching up with you, and I'm excited about this new venture. I mean, what's next? What's next for you, Quimbi.ai, your other ventures? What's next?
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting. So kind of taking a step back from an entrepreneurial standpoint is you mentioned the textile company, Lunda's, that I started. Obviously, I purchased that company. It was doing about $2 million a year. Now it's doing about $11 million a year in revenue. So the textile space is a sleepy giant. a $4.7 billion valuation, and huge opportunities for anyone that has interest in AI, technology, marketing, and those types of things. And so what actually I learned is I was kind of immersing myself in e-commerce for the first time, is that for e-commerce, the marketing firms out there just don't work. They're like super expensive and their results aren't great. So I actually spun out a separate company, an ad tech company called Foresight, because I wanted to create an AI ads and identity solution that would mint money for an e-commerce brand. And I started with Linda's. And so I created a stack of 3 different AI solutions that congress together with Shopify and Klaviyo. And that actually last month, as an example, represented about $500,000 of the revenue for Linda's.
Wow.
And so I kind of created this ad tech company, which I'm kind of doing on the side, and I have 7 customers for, I think our revenue is like $500,000 so far this year. So I've been building that out. And then in the craft space, there's been a couple of other companies that have been interested. And so I have a chairman that runs all the craft stuff for me. I'm just the owner. But now we have a kind of crafts group, and we've purchased a couple of companies that sit underneath the crafts group. So that's been fun. And then I've got Quimbi, which is, the current thing that I'm mostly focused on from a day-to-day standpoint. And yeah, so I'm busy. And then I got my 4-year-old that is very effective.
Dang, little gamer's already 4? That's insane.
He's 4, yeah, and he knows exactly where I work because he comes right at 5 o'clock and he starts knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And he says, "Papa, your workday is done." And so you look at it and be like, okay, I got to be done. I mean, that's just the way it is. So I've become much more effective at prioritizing, like, what can I do between 9:30 to 5, and then 8 to 9 at night. Those are my only hours. I don't have any other hours because everything else I need to focus on my son and help him grow and learn and be a good dad. So yeah, those are some of the things I've been working on.
Man, that's awesome. I can't wait to hear. I already know it's going to happen. I can't wait till Little Gamer launches his first business. I already see it's in the blood, man. He's going to be like, so I got this idea. I'm like, oh, here we go. Come on, Little Gamer. I've been watching you grow up for years, man. What are you about to do? What's the valuation on this business?
I love it.
I see it. It's going to happen. He's watching and he's absorbing too. So this is awesome. Jonathan, man, again, great having you on. If people want to connect, they want to follow you, they want to check out your content, books, podcasts, anything else you're up to, how do people connect? What's the best way nowadays?
So you can reach me at Jonathan at Quimbi.ai. So it's QUIMBI.ai. You can also look up me at LinkedIn, Jonathan Shroyer. I'll probably be the first one that kind of pops up there. So yeah, hit me up in either one of those locations. I'd love to chat with folks. If you're interested in textiles, Linda's, Quimbi, entrepreneurship tips, I just love to network and talk with folks. So I'd love to catch up with anybody.
Fantastic. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can just click on the links and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show, each and every day, bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Jonathan, man, always a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, thank you for the time.